Don't
dumb
do it.
into your name? No. Oh, wait.
Whoa. Wait, for real though, what would you like if, like, best case scenario, what would you want to be called?
I mean, just whatever comes to your mind when you see me. And for most people, it's hot stuff or good looking, sexy man.
Do you want the full Domonique?
No, Neek is fine. I don't really like Dom because no one ever called me
Domonique.
No one's ever called me Dom like until like late in my life. And
gosh, I've had this completely wrong. I remembered last time you said you didn't like Neek.
Do I look like a Dom to you? Like, I feel like when I hear Dom, I think of like
I think of domination.
Somebody. Well,
I think of Vin Diesel and Fast and Furious.
I guess in that scenario, I am a Dom.
I think of the phrase that Elle and her friends use to talk about a dirty old man, which is why I call you Dom.
No, I'm not a sub. Certainly not a sub.
He's not a sub.
You're definitely not a sub.
Domonique has
power bottom?
Power bottom vibes. That's exactly right, Sarah.
Not a $5 foot long either. Much more than $5.
Wow.
Anyway, I'm Domonique Foxworth. We're trying to get canceled before we even start. That's Pablo. That's Sarah. I won't get you in trouble. I'll just get myself in trouble. You've already given us all the, the warnings that we need so that you put it in writing. You can throw us under the bus when I say something.
Put it in work emails.
That gets me canceled. I'm personally a fan of cancel culture. Freaking love it. It's the best thing since sliced bread.
I'm here for it.
How are we starting this fake TV show?
Well, I'm trying to share some links to this show, but they're not up yet. So, I mean, I don't know if anyone's actually watching it yet, So hard to tell. Is the YouTube popping? Is the comment section aflame already?
There are people smashing those heart buttons. These are the questions of our time.
So sad. You're trying to get me to quit this show before we even get to the first topic. Out here trying to get trending topics.
Alabaster comes in with the first topic.
Speaking of the first topic, last night the Bucs took care of business against the Eagles. At halftime, the Eagles running backs had one rushing attempt for 1 yard. Is Nick Sirianni asking too much of Jalen Hurts?
What is this voice that Alabaster's try again? Did you guys hear that? It's getting more game showy. It's something new.
He's workshopping it, Pablo. Just give him a minute.
I want to be mad at Alabaster and this question on behalf of Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders not only is not getting the ball at all, he's also not even getting mentioned in this question. Like, that's part of the story too, right? The running back on this team who has apparently, I had to look this up, has the third highest yards per play since he entered the league in the entire league. Nice. Like, that dude who needed, I think, till the fourth quarter to get a fourth carry. That guy can't even get in our question. So I apologize, Miles Sanders, for erasing your entire existence on top of your coach doing the same thing.
The question is, it's two questions in one, kind of. But I do think that, there's excuses for why Miles Sanders should only have one carry at halftime. It's like, we know that the Bucs D is depleted in the secondary. They are, just taking people off the street and giving them starts. So that's the way
you're going to play for them next week, I heard.
Yeah. No. The check's not big enough for me to go out there and take any more of that punishment. So you combine that with the fact that Vita Vea might be the second best offensive tackle or defensive tackle in football. That D-line is good. Yes, you don't want to run the ball against that situation. And then I look back at all of the first half runs that they had. Many of them were zone reads. So, it's not that they are deciding to give the ball to Miles Sanders. It's that the defense is telling them not to give the ball to Miles Sanders because the defensive end is crashing down on it. So, I think there's plenty of criticism to go for Nick Sirianni, but not after this game. The team is just better than you. They're a lot better than you. You did the best you could. Jalen Hurts. And to the actual question, they're asking a lot of Jalen Hurts. But who else they going to ask it of? He's the quarterback. He's the one, I guess, not the one, but he is a shining kind of star on that team. He's making the best of some bad situations. So, I think the best thing you can do is ask a lot of him because at the end of this season, you want to be able to know whether he's your guy going forward.
I have a lot to say about this, but first I want to point out that I just realized that Pablo's wearing some sort of athleisure zip-up with a weird collar. I thought he was wearing a collared
I'm breaking
shirt with
wind,
a skinny
guys.
tie. No, I thought the whole time that you were wearing a black skinny tie with some sort of satin sheen button down. And I'm like, why is Pablo so dressed up today? And then I realized it's an athleisure top. I need to get my contacts. I guess
I'm
more is what I'm
exercising.
saying.
I'm exercising.
You guys
during
will
the
notice
show.
if you're regular
My
viewers of the
bottom
show
half
that
is on.
whenever they put something up there, I go like this. And that's because I have contacts and I don't like wearing them. But I can read that one. Okay, my take on this is that I was on the show yesterday and the day before, by the way. Am I getting paid for this? Anyway, the point is that I said yesterday
we get paid for this?
The only strategy for this team was to try to take advantage of the depleted secondary, which is one of the only weaknesses on the Bucs. That this was going to have to be an aggressive game plan for Jalen Hurts. Some designed QB runs might be the only rushes that they would accomplish, and then they needed to try to go deep and feed up on that secondary. The Bucs have the best rushing defense in the league, so you come in with an Eagles team that's already being criticized for not using Miles Sanders enough. This wasn't the game to fix that. I'm sorry. Yes, they're probably asking too much of him. Yes, that was also the only game plan that was going to keep them in this game, which they kind of were, although the final score was not indicative of how much of a beatdown it really was by the Bucs. But this is not the game for me to assign this criticism to Sirianni and the Eagles, because this was the best chance to win. Later on, we can discuss whether they're still not utilizing Miles Sanders right.
Yeah, it kind of feels like Jalen Hurts is that kid who, like, you know, wanted to smoke a cigarette, wanted to be a full-time starting quarterback for real, and then his coach, his parent, was like, oh, you like cigarettes? Here's a carton of cigarettes. Smoke all of this. Like, how do you like being the full-time quarterback now? And yeah, I think this is going to be a larger, potentially medically dangerous issue if they keep on running Jalen Hurts like this, to be perfectly honest with you. But while we're all in agreement, I guess, that Nick Sirianni actually shouldn't be blamed so much off of this particular game, I do want to point out that we have already made it several minutes into a show of any kind, albeit a fake debate show on fake TV. We haven't even mentioned the fact that Tom Brady, before this game, said he thinks he could literally play till age 55.
Yeah.
And I just want to say this to Tom Brady in the year, how many years is that now? Like 11 years from now or whatever it is. In 2032, Tom Brady, I'm going to accuse you of using steroids. You're 55 years old and in the NFL. Just earmark this.
Yes, get it ready.
You are allegedly on steroids. I'm sorry.
Gosh.
I know we're all not going to do that yet, but in 2032 at 55, you're on steroids allegedly.
Are people even doing that in the dark recesses of the internet? Because, like,
you mean Dan Levitar's brain? Dan Levitar's been
publicly saying it
for about a decade now. He's been like, I'm not saying it, but should we be asking that?
A lot of hints. A lot of alleged hints.
Let's forget Tom Brady. Hypothetically, there's a quarterback who is the greatest quarterback ever. And hypothetically, this quarterback took some substance to give us even more years of watching him be great. I ain't mad at him. Like,
oh, so now we're gonna do this again. Are steroids actually that bad? If it
no.
No.
It's not that balls shrink and they get back knee, and then kids start using it, and then their
allegedly
genitals don't work in adulthood.
Domonique is
going after these old school steroid tropes. We got new stuff in these streets.
New stuff?
Yeah, we got stem cells. We got vampire blood off of teenagers that we're injecting.
Transfusion.
That sounds like that's a hypothetical supermodel wife's problem. None of that sounds like a problem for me. Allegedly. That's not a problem for me. Anyway.
But the argument, Domonique, that I think you're making, which is a reasonable one, is that the people who should be most in favor of Tom Brady or any hypothetical quarterback that we talk about all the time, the people who should be most in favor of that hypothetical person hypothetically allegedly doing alleged performance-enhancing drugs, which allegedly do not shrink balls anymore, should be us. Right? Like, we should. I mean, we want this.
To Sarah's point, I don't want the kids to know because I don't want them to do it. So let's as a group.
So journalists,
alleged journalists,
medical professionals,
alleged
staff members, teammates. All of us are in on it.
No, not us. We're talking about this.
So it's like Santa.
Fictional.
By the way, Santa's 100% real.
Of course,
but let's say Santa wasn't real, and we all conspired together, every one of us except for the kids. That's what you want. You want journalists, medical professionals, team doctors, teammates, coaches. Everyone's in on it. Just don't tell the kids.
How magical is Christmas morning? Like from the age of 1 to like 6 or 7. Yeah. It's magical. Let's stay there.
It is.
Let's stay there, guys.
I'll stay there.
Let's stay
There's
there.
a number of reasons I would like to go back to being 7. And some of them include, enjoying this Mike Ditka bobblehead a lot more when I was when I was a lot younger.
Exactly. Let's all stay there. Why do we have to leave that
ignorance
place?
Is bliss.
I can't
Get the
wait.
next question. What do you think?
I mean, if you say so. I want Santa to throw some more touchdowns. All right.
Yes.
You know what? Yep. I take that as a compliment.
What shoes do you have on? Let me see the kicks.
No, I don't want to see your feet. I don't want to see your feet.
You can find me.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it.
No.
Oh, God.
Careful. We almost had that Phoebe's boyfriend in the coffee shop situation with those shorts.
Based on what
nobody needed to see that.
Based on what I saw.
That's a Friends reference. It's white people.
I didn't get it. I was coming with another joke instead, a joke for people like me who don't like Friends. All right, you ready for my joke?
Yes.
Based on what I saw, he's not only a dealer, but he's a user.
Thank you. That's the greatest alleged compliment I've ever received.
Oh no, you showed us your crotch. I was saying, never mind.
Sarah
got it.
It's got.
Nobody got it.
Yeah,
Only me.
I thought you were going for calves.
No,
I thought we were going
that
for calves
that is the rare.
No, that's not what we were going for. That is the skinniest thigh I've ever seen. Have you ever done a squat? Just one. Just one squat.
I just want to revel in my high lowbrow joke. It was highbrow and lowbrow at the same time.
A little boy's lower half.
It does. It does look like you are like.
It looks like you're headed
private
to
school
PE
gym class. Yeah.
Yes, 100.
It is definitely private school. It's not public
No, we don't
school.
need that backside either.
There's no backside. Yeah. Where is it?
Are we flexing? Is that where we're supposed to be thinking that there's a flex?
So last time I was on the show, my muscles got a little bit of shine, and I think Pablo is jealous.
Right, he's jealous. By the way, I think we've established now that the dealer that Pablo looks like is someone who's selling Molly on the campus of Exeter. He graduated from there and took a gap year and then never ended up doing anything. And now he's a townie who sells Molly to the kids.
But here's the thing. What they don't know is that it's not actually Molly.
Of course not. Of course not.
This is ridiculous. Can we have the next question now, Sarah?
Next
please?
topic.
Give us the card, Mr. Hand.
Thank you, Domonique.
All right.
Our next topic.
By the way, I agree with that
face the
YouTube
Ravens
commenter that the whole show is just Mr. Hand trying to keep us on track and us just wanting to talk about anything else.
Oh,
so shout out to that guy or gal.
Way to steamroll Mr. Hand as he reads the next
Mr.
question.
Hand. I was just proving the point yet again. All right.
I'll try
ahead.
that again. The Chargers will face the Ravens this weekend. Which QB would you rather have?
That's a really good question. I mean, it's a good question because you're
completely disagree.
Choosing between styles and convention, and while I guess you would say Herbert is closer to the conventional quarterback, Lamar Jackson is kind of closer to the original quarterback, except for the black part. But like original quarterbacks ran the ball a lot more. So as a football purist, I think I go with Lamar Jackson. But a realistic argument for Lamar Jackson is when you look at the things that he has to help him, he's using a lot less. So like either that means that he hasn't reached his full potential because like he doesn't have the type of receivers, he doesn't have the type of protection or offensive line play that Herbert has right now. And even his defense is a bit suspect, which they normally aren't. He doesn't have all those things, and somehow they're still 4-1 and probably should have won that first game too. And it's all kind of on the legs and arms of Lamar Jackson. So you take away everything, all the weapons that Lamar Jackson has on offense, and somehow the team is still good. I know Andrews is there, but we don't know what Justin Herbert is without two highly drafted receivers and a pretty impressive defense on the other side.
Yeah, I actually agree with you if we're talking for this game, especially too, because I have more faith in Lamar being able to dice up that Chargers defense than the reverse. And I think the style of play that the Ravens are going to use against the Chargers is going to expose and maybe make us look a little bit harder at the Chargers than their game plan. But in the long term, I think it's a different question because to your point, even though Lamar Jackson has certainly showed us he can be more prototypical than many of the doubters expected, he still relies so much on his running ability to set up his passing, and that team relies so much on his legs that there's always going to be a question mark about longevity for Lamar. And I don't have that as much for Herbert because of his body and his style.
I can't believe you guys are dragging me into considering this question in a real substantive way.
Years in the league, wear and tear on the legs and style of play makes the actual age less relevant than that. But yeah.
But here I think is the actual criticism of Justin Herbert that I think is fair, because Justin Herbert right now seems invulnerable. I mean, it's him or Lamar is like the best quarterback in football right now. I think we can all generally agree.
Kyler Murray kind of wants
okay,
in on
sorry.
this combo.
Kyler is on the medal stand too.
Tom
We'll
Brady
get to him
also
at some
maybe
point.
wants to say something about it.
I don't know. He's, I heard something about
Never mind, Pablo.
But listen, what I will say about comparing Justin
clean
Herbert and Lamar Jackson, right? Lamar Jackson and Justin Herbert are very successful in very different ways when you look at when they're doing great things on a down-by-down basis. Justin Herbert right now is the best quarterback in the NFL on late downs, in third and fourth down, right? And Lamar Jackson is not good in those scenarios. What he is great at, number one in the league at, is being the best on first and second down. And so the question really is like, do you think that third and fourth down, those late down scenarios, are fluky? Like, is this a thing that can sustain? Is this something that presages a larger trend of sustainable success? Or is Justin Herbert right now kind of on a hot streak that can't possibly sustain when you find yourselves in situations where you got to pass out of them?
Yeah, so we give quarterbacks a lot of credit and a lot of blame. Everyone knows that. So like the third and fourth down stat that you're pointing to, I think there's a lot of other variables that impact that. So like if you try to boil it down to the specific player, I think what Lamar Jackson provides for that team is much more than Justin Herbert provides for his team. And it's more than Justin Herbert's team needs him to provide.
Right.
So like I understand the argument about having a quarterback whose skills are, or whose success is largely based on the fact that he is uniquely, somebody just got to my house, whose success is uniquely based on his running ability. Like I understand the argument against that, but I also understand that it just makes it more high volatility. Like if Lamar Jackson gets hurt, then you got no hope, obviously.
Nothing. Right.
And maybe the fact that he's running, even though I'm not sure running quarterbacks get hurt more than pocket passers, maybe the fact that he's running increases his injury potential. But I also look at Justin Herbert, and there's so many other people that have to be doing their jobs at a really high level to help him succeed.
Right, because the question isn't would you rather be the Chargers or the Ravens? It's which quarterback would you want to be? And in that case, we know that Lamar does it all.
So my thought with having Lamar Jackson is then I have a choice as someone who's building a team. My choice is I could take all my money and invest it in the defense and have like at base level, Lamar is going to make our offense mediocre if nothing else. Or I could give him some weapons and hope that he has that year like he had with the MVP. Like it feels like you have more options. Whereas with Justin Herbert, I'm building a roster. We got to get him an O-line. We got to get him some receivers, and then we got to figure out what we're going to do with this defense.
Though.
I understand that he can scoot.
He needs protection still, but he's not like.
But Lamar's out there without. I mean, how many? They have 17 guys on IR. How many of them are offensive linemen? They don't have a true number one receiver. Right. Their best player is a tight end who I'm not sure would be all that impactful on another team. They're down to running backs who we all thought were retired. And they're still moving the ball and still scoring. So, it's hard for me to imagine a scenario where Lamar Jackson doesn't keep your floor higher no matter what the hell happens to the rest of your team.
Right.
He keeps your floor higher than anyone else.
Domonique, quick question for you, because this happened during the other show, too. When someone comes to your house, is there like an electronic voice that says someone is at the door?
Something no, it's just if you open the door, it tells you the door was open. So
okay, I'm just interested in the security at your mansion. I just want to know. Do you have drapes that are on the remote?
No,
thing?
Domonique's. What happens is that Domonique's butler alerts his other butler, who alerts his butler, and then he finally brings a velvet note to Domonique.
Yes. That's what I thought. And it's in a glass thing, like the rose from Beauty and the Beast.
I don't have a mansion. Right. I don't have butlers, but the security, there it is.
That's number one. Where's number two? I know you have a second security guard, the other side, right?
Why are you encouraging him? Yeah, next topic. Next topic, for the love of God.
Okay, moving on to the NBA. In preseason, 2 nights ago, Giannis appeared to have a new and improved jump shot. How scared should the rest of the league be if Giannis can shoot?
So this is presupposing something, which is that Giannis will be able to shoot really well. Can shoot is a very vague verb.
Ooh, okay. Let's find out what it looks like.
Show the clip to give specifics. Because he's in the preseason and he is doing very impressive things in the preseason. He's pulling up from 3. He's taking long twos.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's encouraging. A guy who can do everything. I mean, this is the last thing that he really couldn't do. Is terrifying. But the issue is that if you are a defense defending Giannis, you still want him to do that more than you want him to do the things that actually won him a title last year. The way he won a title is by actually attacking people in the post, right? It's attacking switches. It's backing people down. It's taking advantage of mismatches. It's being crafty without having to play into this fallacy that everyone who is 7 feet and up needs to have a really good jumper. So until Giannis proves that he's not going to shoot 30% from three as he has for his career thereabouts, then I want him to do this more than anything. I'm not terrified. I am very much salivating at the idea that he now thinks that this is how he's going to win.
Yeah, well, the rest of the league should be scared if Giannis is healthy. Like, if Giannis shows up, they should be scared because that's how good he is. If he develops a free throw, I think that will be much better, like a consistent free throw. That'd be much better than this mid-range jump shot game. We're getting a little ahead of ourselves. This is one preseason game, but I understand the imagination exercise that we're doing here. But I'll play the other side. Of course, you want to have more and more skills for a player to have. But part of the reason why Giannis plays the way Giannis plays and he's so effective is because he don't really want to shoot. And so, getting to the mid-range, if there is a little bit of friction and he's like, oh, well, I'll settle for this jump shot, then maybe you get a different type of Giannis. I personally would like to believe that he has the basketball intellect to know when to force through and when to pull up and shoot.
Yes.
So I'm not sure how much more scary Giannis is in that moment, because no matter what, you'd rather Chris Middleton to be shooting those mid-range shots and Giannis to be attacking the basket no matter what. I don't want him shooting those shots unless he has to, or just to get through the regular season. You can do whatever you got to do, preserve your health. Playoff time, barrel in there, get a couple charges, dunk on some people, go to the free throw line.
I like the logic you guys are using, and I agree with it, but it's sort of an either-or approach, which is that if he begins
Domonique's
shooting
house
well,
is being robbed right now, Sarah, as a side
Exactly,
note. Just
yeah.
continue your
He's
take,
just
but just know that
ignoring
grand larceny
all of the
allegedly is taking
butlers.
place.
All the butlers are pounding on the door, and he's just like, I'm doing TV right now, guys. No, I think you're looking at this either-or, and it doesn't have to be. I think he is more terrifying if he can make more of those shots the way that we saw, again, like you said, small sample size in one game, because even if he still wants to dominate in the paint and would prefer to do so, it opens up the paint more often if everybody else is a risk from everywhere on the court, including him. It just allows you to be more fluid with your game plan. If you have to respect him out there, he can drive past you, take one step from half court to the bucket and lay it in, because we know he can do that. It's just, there's no downside to this, because I don't think, to Pablo's point, that he is basketball dumb enough to think just because I make these a little bit more often, I'm going to choose these even when it's not necessary. I just think this makes defense respect him out there more, and it's even more dangerous.
I mean, I feel you, but I don't think it's about the three-pointer for Giannis. I think a lot of us...
No, mid-range, any jump shot outside the paint.
Right. Yeah. A lot of us were like, if Giannis could hit the three, then no one could sag off of him. But I don't think it's about that as much as it's if Giannis has a reliable secondary move from inside. If you cut off his drive, what can he do off of that? And that's from those clips that we saw. That was what was more impressive to me.
If he could pull up, for sure.
That was what was scarier to me than him hitting a bunch of threes. Because to hit a bunch of threes, you have to take a lot of threes. And I think he actually puts more pressure on the defense by attacking the basket and then rotating off to some sort of turnaround jumper, pull-up jumper, some move other than banging on people.
Did you hear that sound, by the way? Because it's the greatest sound I think I've ever heard in the short history that I've done this show. It's the sound of us talking about people shooting and not bringing up Ben Simmons. Next topic, we made it. No!
Bleeper. That's the second day in a row that we had a show without him in the rundown, and one of you dumbasses decided to bring him up anyway. Now we got to go back to our days since we talked about Ben Simmons and mark it back at 0 again.
I feel bad because it's Ben Simmons. So I feel bad because we feel like we're piling on Ben Simmons, but I realize Ben Simmons doesn't watch this show. No. And so if it's painful,
apparently Pablo,
if it's painful to Pablo, then I'm all in. I like it. I'm
Pablo's
sorry,
the one who keeps bringing it up. I'd be curious if he has a repertoire
I was
celebrating
that we all made it past the same tropes that we traffic in. And does Ben Simmons follow me on Twitter? Yes. Is he maybe talking and watching us talking about him? Maybe also yes. So I'm sorry, Ben, if you're listening. Yeah, 0 days. Great.
Okay. Next topic.
For the love of
Aloha,
of
Mr.
the Lord.
Okay, final Final trending topic.
Ooh.
How bad are the new leaked emails between former Washington GM Bruce Allen and the NFL's top lawyer?
If you're not numb to this, then the answer is really, really bad. And it's made all the worse by the fact that the NFL released a press release, a statement basically saying after this story came out to the New York Times that he's a guy of high character. We stand by him. These are conversations that happen all the time with executives and team officials. And what was your favorite worst email? Because I think for me, it was the whole, hey, here is Bruce Allen to Jeff Pash. Here is an audio file of a song that is designed to attract Latino fans. And then the response from Jeff Pash is, that will be less popular once the wall is built. I think that's my favorite terrible email in this bunch, but there are other candidates.
I'm going to go with the one that Domonique alerted me to shortly before the show, which is an email that the NFL, was it Bruce Allen? Yeah, Bruce Allen sent to a right-wing shock jock trying to stir up more and more conversation about Kaepernick to make sure that there was back in the league. Like this was happening. And I think that's part of the reason that the NFL, in investigating the Washington football team, was so adamant about not allowing anything to be verbally or reported in written form, because they have a massive lawsuit. They do not want discovery on anything that could also include everything that went down with Kaepernick or anything else. I mean, to me, these dudes sending around pictures of the cheerleaders is revolting.
Yeah, that's the one that jumped out to me.
Revolting. But also the idea that the NFL's top lawyer, Jeff Pash, who also is a consigliere and massive right-hand person for Roger Goodell, is engaging back and forth with the president of a team that has done nothing but bring bad attention and shame to the league ever since Snyder took it over, and is saying, oh, I know you couldn't be involved in this. You're a man of high character. Or don't worry, we're going to rescind that fine, or any number of other things. Like this chummy is what I was looking for. This chummy back and forth.
We're not out here
although
shaming.
somebody might have gotten a chubby over all of those emails. This allegedly, this chummy back and forth between these guys just tells us, like you said, Pablo, what we already knew. But that doesn't make it any less sad and disgusting. The fact that the people in power in almost every place in America, whether it's football or major companies, are old white dudes who are racist, misogynist, bad people. And that sucks. I don't know where we even go. It feels so overwhelming to be reminded at every turn that all of the things we say are happening are not only happening, but even worse than maybe we would imagine if they're willing to put all of it in print.
I think, can I make a request at some point for maybe next show, we should get like one of these cards for Alabaster that like says profound or something.
He's got one that says he has a point, but
that's not good enough.
He doesn't have one that says she has a point. I guarantee you, he cannot right now find a card that says she has a point. Find it, Mr. Hand.
Come on, Alabaster.
Are you sexist? Have it. I've seen he has a point. I have not seen. Let's see what he has to say for that.
Pablo requested that we retired the he has a point card.
Oh, well, did you retire?
Why are you throwing me under the bus?
You never made it. So you don't have to retire it. Pablo.
I just was imagining like we have a tangent, like we should have a professional finding something, because most of the time we make jokes on this show and have a good time, but sometimes someone says something profound, and I think Sarah just said something profound, so we should say profound statement. But I do also I don't know, I've had plenty of debates with people about this on television and off, and generally the cancel culture thing comes up like, this has run amok. This man just sent an email a long time ago. Speaking of John Gruden, he shouldn't have lost his job. Like Jeff Pash is already retired, so there's nothing y'all can do to him at this point. Right. Bruce Allen's already out, nothing you can do to him. So to the Gruden point specifically is like he didn't get fired. He stepped down, and he wasn't forced to step down because of the emails. He was forced to step down because it makes it harder for him to do his job. Like your job is to lead a locker room made up of black men and openly gay men and possibly several other closeted gay men. Then it's really hard to do the job when they know that you said that about you. And you have a public-facing business that's looking to sell wholesome family values. You can't have the face of that. And Las Vegas may be the place where you can get away with having a non-wholesome face, Las Vegas in the Raiders, but generally the league does not want to be associated with that. So that's kind of where it boils down to for guys like that. Is like, look, even if you believe that which I understand. Like, as an adult man, like, the conversations that I have with people, not every conversation would I want to be recorded and to represent the person that I am all the time. The fact that I'm smart enough not to email the stupid shit that I say does not make me any better than anyone else. However, if someone happens to overhear me having a conversation when I was 28 about something ridiculous, and then it surfaces and I have to come on TV and try to represent ESPN and I get fired for it, then I'm like, it sucks for me, but also understand ESPN don't owe me nothing. They just want to look clean, so y'all show up.
Right. But Domonique, I think there's an even more profound distinction there, because people talk about these emails, these leaks, like, you know, it's people looking through the Twitter search histories. Well played, Alabaster. They treat it like they're looking through the Twitter histories of like SNL cast members and trying to cancel them. Like, no, this is the top lawyer for the NFL on his work account talking to the president of a football team on his work account. Like, this is not at all like that. These are people whose job is to be, at the very least, Sarah, the heads of companies that pretend like they are not the sorts of people who say these things at work.
And I think, again, the point is not that necessarily it's fair when things that you thought were private go public. But in the end, if what we discover about people is that it is without a doubt affecting their decision making, that they hate gay people, black people, Latinos, Colin Kaepernick, women, etc. Like, if it becomes clear that your opinion on large groups of people who make up the brand that you work for and the fans of it are inherently offensive to you for simply existing, how could we possibly imagine that you would follow through with any of the more progressive movements and ideas that the league is at least pretending to want to move forward with? So, fair or not, get out of here. I'm so sorry. I don't care about both sidesing this bullshit and trying to make people who hate cancel culture feel better about it. I'm just, at some point, we need to stop tiptoeing around people that suck, that are bigoted, bad people. We don't want them running things. We don't want them in charge of things. So stop making other people feel better about why or how they got caught. Just tell them to get the hell out of here and try to get more people that don't suck in charge of things.
I regret trying to remove the he or she has a point card after that. I will just point this out because Jeff Pash, here's another email on the medal stand of bad emails that were leaked as per the New York Times. I'll just read it from the story. After a crisis erupted over allegations of sexual harassment of the Washington cheerleaders, Bruce Allen contacted Jeff Pash, again, the NFL's top lawyer, who offered reassuring words. This is before the investigation. Quote, "I know that you are on it and would not condone something untoward, period," end quotation mark. Like, your job is to not say to the people you're going to have to investigate, you did nothing wrong. You're just bad at your job.
Or be friends with them. That's why you don't have him investigate. That's why you get an outside investigator, which then they allowed Snyder to pay for his own and then report it verbally. Like, that's why it's such a farce.
Can I say one more thing?
Is it about the VIP card that Jeff Pash got from Bruce Allen at Hooters? Because no, he just said that he's the only person who ever gave him a VIP card at Hooters, which I wonder, like, what does that even look like?
I mean,
is that like what do you?
The VIP room, the card, like, what does it get you? Extra wings, extra sauces, no upcharge.
I didn't know there was a VIP section.
I'm sure there's Hooters commercials on ESPN, so I'm not gonna get myself canceled by talking about how I feel about the restaurant. So we'll keep it moving. But I do want to say
nothing about the quality of their chicken.
One more. I just feel like exactly. I just think, like, if you want good chicken, there are places that have good chicken. If you want scantily clad women, there are places you can go where they don't have
sometimes you want both
clothes on.
Sometimes you want both.
And that's when you go to Magic City.
That's when you go to Magic City.
That's right.
Yeah, keep that up there. Keep that up there because
also,
I think
sometimes you want to separate your professional life from your inability to not be distracted by a body part that you can find anywhere, anytime. But somehow men are incapable of not destroying their own careers and the lives of their families because they can't just not let their little tiny head make decisions for them that their big one should.
I mean, it thinks really strongly. Like it has, I'm not defending them, but I'm just saying, like, it's
just more disappointing than anything when this happens. It always comes down to men just making terrible decisions based on. It's disappointing. Really, it makes me sad. It makes me sad how simple you are.
The little one doesn't make you racist. If anything, it makes you really, really not racist.
Nazi color.
Like, you are not prejudiced.
I dispute almost every adjective that has been said in the last 5 minutes. Next topic.
No, I want
the most
to get us in
anti-racist you'll
trouble.
ever be.
I want to get us in trouble more. Hold on, Pablo. Let's get fired. No. Let's get fired.
Is this how it ends, Domonique?
Yeah, this is how it ends. Just for me, not for you.
For Domonique, it usually ends with a story about a microwave.
Oh no, that didn't end it. That just ended my Sports Center career.
Yeah.
Still ain't been back on. They hate me over there. I love them though. Anyway, the point I was gonna make is this right here. Cancel culture. Back to cancel culture. So I had this conversation with an older gentleman a couple of days ago because he was like saying, all right, I don't agree with John Gruden, but whatever, you losing jobs. And then he made a broader point about how cancel culture is run amok. And my point to him, and a point that I would like to share with you guys, is that there is no perfect place to be on these type of societal norms. Like in the 1950s, you could call black people niggers and nobody did it. There was no consequence for it at all. And we would all agree that that is like too lenient as far as this consequences are for your actions. Now, even if you're going to argue that we have gone too far and people are paying like outsized consequences for the actions and decisions that they've made, that's a world that I'd rather live in. Like I'd rather live in a world where every now and then we go too far with the consequences. And normally the people who are paying the consequences are the people who are the most privileged. Like I'd rather live in a world that occasionally someone on this side pays the cost and live in a world previously where everyone, who was not in a privileged class felt like second-class citizens. So I'm sorry, decisions have externalities. This world is not going to be perfect. And if the negative byproduct is that every now and then Louis C.K. has to stop standing up in front of you and telling jokes.
Yeah, but that's what I was going to say.
I would like little black girls to be able to walk to school without getting spat upon.
Right. I mean, I agree with all that, except I want to just add on that the cancel culture that the people who are most against it believe exists does not exist. Louis C.K. is back doing stand-up. Right. Bill Cosby is not in jail, right? Like
planning a tour.
Yeah, I mean, the idea that because someone is publicly skewered for things that are deservedly skewered for being awful and offensive and terrible, and in the cases of some of those men, for ruining the lives of women, the fact that that publicly results in them being shamed, and then they probably still go on to make money and be supported, like that Morgan Waller guy. His album has been #1 for like months and months because he got canceled for saying the N-word. Guess what? He didn't get canceled. He's making more money because people who believe that you should be allowed to be racist are giving it to him than he would have made if that had never come out. So the idea of cancel culture and everybody who's pushing against it doesn't actually exist. They just want us to be sensitive when we're talking about bad people. And I refuse to do that. They're bad. They deserve what's coming to them. It's accountability for your actions. F your sensitivity about a culture of canceling that does not even exist.
Okay, next question. We can keep talking, but I feel like Alabaster's hands
Alabaster's currently hiding under the desk.
He might have left.
He already left. All I want to say about cancel culture is that I reject the term as a concept, and we should just be specifically evaluating everything specifically. Right. And if there is a pattern that emerges, a trend that says, hey, the experiment we ran in the 1950s was terrible, let's do something different, then maybe that's just a logical consequence of evaluating a bunch of things independently.
Agreed.
Next topic.
Well said, Pablo. He has a point. Profound.
We're all going to get canceled from
Are we playing a game?
We
didn't get the board that said we're playing a game.
Thank you. We're moving on to What Are the Chances, where we'll give you a topic and you tell us the chances it happens. First one, what are the chances the Pelicans should panic about Zion's foot?
Do you have space for like 19 zeros there? Because I will go with 100 million %.
Let's see if Mr. Hand knows how many zeros are in 100 million.
Wow. Well, you messed up from the start, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep on going. No, they'll get the
You're going to need some hundreds in the beginning. 100 million, not one.
Just just put like the little quotes to like signify that I want what's above that too.
Right.
Like I
just
agree.
The greater than sign.
Yeah,
greater than.
No, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, because they absolutely should panic. This is one of those rare cases where like we all saw it before it happened and we're all thinking about it like, bodies aren't supposed to be able to do that. Something might go wrong, and then these little things keep popping up. Like, I would be terrified. And I don't know what it means, how to act when you're panicked about this, but whatever the highest level of concern is, they should have it, and I'm sure they do.
I would like mine to be the infinity symbol.
Nice.
Because instead of a number, it's more about just forever and forever and forever they will be concerned about any number of aspects of Zion's body, because he's unbelievable and incredible when he's healthy. But to Domonique's point, God, I gotta stop trying to call you Domonique. To Domonique's point, there's just always going to be this specter. We thought about it from the beginning around him, and all of those of us who felt sorry about doing it and said, "Oh, I don't want to put that on this kid." Like, we haven't seen, it's too late for that now. We've seen it too many times. Now there's proof of concept that we have to worry.
Yeah, I mean, so we just saw cards that said there is no timetable for his return, which is a terrifying statement pretty much in any context. We have he's missed 59 games in his first 2 seasons. And if you look at photos of him, and I feel very bad about even bringing this up because it gets to a place of like, I don't want to like make fun of him at all. Actually, I just want to be sad when you are rehabbing and your entire strength as a player is the second jump, right? It's not the fact that he can jump once and be, 47 inches off the ground. It's the fact that he lands and jumps right after that at a speed that is like truly like physically, biomechanically absurd. When that is your game and you are then going to have to be sidelined to rehab and you're putting on weight and you can't really exercise, I just don't think this ends well when your lower body is the issue.
That's interesting because, like, obviously that second jump thing is a really interesting thing that we talk about when we talk about Zion, but he does a lot of other things exceptionally well. And the fact that, and they're exceptionally well for his body type. So I feel like Zion is an incredible, outstanding player because of that. It's a lot like, I don't know, Allen Iverson or like those type of players that you're like, they will not age well because the explosiveness is important.
Or like Lamar. Same question.
What is Zion without that? Like, so many other players can be injured and still, or like be less of themselves physically and still find ways to produce. Zion is very skilled, but I feel like his skills are tied to the fact that nobody can do the things that he does while being built that way.
No, he was because he doesn't play just like a big-bodied guy. Right. He plays like an explosive guy, and can he be grounded and be super effective in the same way? Doesn't seem possible.
They were playing him for large stretches, and his stats last year, look it up. Like, he shot over 60% from the field, 27 or 28 a game. He had assists. He was playing point guard for long stretches of their season, and he was revitalizing that team. And then you look at this card that says at the bottom there, Zion has not begun running yet.
Right.
And you're
so Pablo, I want to ask you this because I think you were trying to, without body shaming, say that you had seen photos of Zion looking like he had put on weight because he was, working through rehab.
Compare his photos 2019 to 2021.
Okay, but I saw that. I saw that, and I think it might have been poorly labeled because I believe what they were telling you is that the more fit and cut version was 2021.
Either way. Producer.
Producer, Alabaster, do you have an interjection?
Yeah, Pablo, you actually had that right. The photo of Zion was from 2021 where he looked a bit bigger.
Because that's what I said. I posted it and then people got in my mentions and they were like, no, it's just labeled funny. The fit one is him now. And I was like, oh, damn, he's going to be amazing. But to your point, Pablo, I have some concerns because also if your natural body type is more likely to be like that, the amount of work that you have to put in to fight that natural, like whatever, if your natural body type is requiring so much work and that's already happening 19, 20, the older you get.
And you work in New Orleans.
I just want to talk about the Menchies now. The Menchies is a scary place.
I'm afraid to look at the Menchies right now.
There's nothing good in the Menchies.
We did like 47 minutes on cancel culture. I'm pretty sure our Menchies are
especially
I'm ready.
Okay.
Get
that word out of here.
I was about to say something that's going to get me in trouble, not with you, but elsewhere, and that card saved me.
Good. Mr. Hand, move on. Aloha.
Move on before Domonique figures out a segue to the thing that would actually get us canceled.
Oh, I'll say it anyway. The Menchies, especially as like a married man, even good things in the Menchies are dangerous. Stay out of the Menchies. You mean they be out there? They be hunting,
what's
man. You're not gonna
unfortunate-
get me.
what's
baddies,
unfortunate is
you
like
baddies, get out my menchies.
you appreciate the gross people sliding into your menchies with their body parts.
Yeah,
What stinks for women is that we
Yeah.
get them and I don't want them.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
disgusted by them. I think it's
Yeah.
so revolting. And I
Me
don't
too.
think any of them actually think I enjoy it either. They just want the power of knowing that it made me look at that.
Me too.
Which is really just another complete unfair that I don't get
Yes.
to at least enjoy the trolls the way that you do, allegedly.
Baddies, please, no more photos.
Yeah, weird flex, Domonique.
It appalls
You know what you're
me.
doing right now.
I'm
You know what you're doing
If
right
I-
now.
if-
Please
You're
don't.
asking for
If
more
I may
of them.
concur with
Yes,
my
because
colleague,
I guarantee you that there are lots of baddies
Domonique,
looking
Watching
at
right now.
if I've learned anything, it's that
Their
the baddies
favorite
are out
show.
of control. The baddies are out of control.
Yeah, Pablo.
Yeah, they
if
stay in
anyone
my
knows
menchies.
what it's like to have endless streams of attractive women throwing themselves at you, Pablo.
I mean, you saw my legs earlier. I mean, my menchies have been
gross.
overflowing
Gross.
with
Ever since
baddies,
that
goodies, so-soes, all of them.
Unmuscled thigh made an appearance. The women have been going crazy.
Is this
it's
the
a
most
dense
tangent-y
muscle.
show we've ever had? It's
It's
so
a dense
tangent-y.
muscle.
And we haven't even seen the tangent. It's crazy.
No, we saw one tangent, but I didn't think we've seen Jim Laundry tangent yet. That's my favorite.
There
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 we
he
go.
is. All right, Alabaster, what were you trying to get us to talk about before we refused to talk about the thing you wanted us to talk about?
All right, next topic. What are the chances that Domonique would dominate the Balloon World Cup? And we have a clip.
Okay. Oh,
Everybody's played this game. It's a fun game.
Of
You played it
course.
when you were a kid.
I played this yesterday.
is that an official? There's two
Yeah, of
officials.
course. I mean, it's the World
Is there any
Championship.
sharp
the
edges?
World Cup.
Because I would be face first on that pinball machine right there. Just
They
catch
got
an eye on
helmets.
that corner.
The
Oh,
Balloon World Cup values nothing more than integrity. So what are the
Stop it.
rules here, though? You can bounce it. Oh.
Got him. Got him.
So, no, well, it bounced off of that car. I guess it just can't hit the floor. That's the rule.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I would dominate
Dominique?
this, honestly. Why are we talking
No,
about
you wouldn't.
Dominique?
No,
I
you
mean,
wouldn't.
I'll give Dominique. There it is.
Wow. I'm gonna go
100
Dominique.
$1,000,000 again for me.
90%. The only 10% is off is because of potentially lingering injuries from NFL days, like that might pop up on a particularly long reach. Pablo, not tall, not long, not fast, not particularly athletic as far as I can tell.
Incorrect,
So I'm gonna
incorrect,
go,
and incorrect, respectively.
I'm gonna go 10%.
yeah,
You
I
can
mean,
take Dominique's other 10%.
oh man, I
Wow.
feel like the athleticism that we saw out there is probably close to what Pablo's is. So I'd give him. I mean, to dominate, there's no chance he dominates. So
No,
it's a 0%
zero.
chance that he dominates, but he'll be like serviceable, and that's it.
No, what you need to do is have a good sense of internal navigation. I have that. Can I work my way
No.
around small spaces?
you just need
also
eyes.
have that. And also, am I far? I mean, I would say this. I have what's the term? What's the term they have? A subtle
Muscular atrophy?
subtle. No, not that
sorry.
one. No, muscular. That was verging on offensive to all sorts of people. Myself least among them. 100 million %. Just give me myself at 100 million %.
Oh
please.
my God! But the
I play
bad
this
part
with
about
Violet, my daughter, every day. You think
Okay.
if anyone's more versed
She's a
in this,
toddler.
it's me.
Okay, she's a child.
But in watching the video, like that was the World Cup. Like there was no strategy involved. They're slapping the ball as hard as they
didn't
can
look- yeah.
up in the air, which is like giving the other person time to recover.
You're just both
like,
trying to go
this
around
is-
the car.
Yeah, this is bad. Like
My
watch this
favorite-
one big one. Like what are you
Like,
doing?
My favorite detail is that they're wearing helmets.
Of course.
My
safety
favorite
first.
thing is like, what are the rules about getting out of the way of the other person? Because I would conveniently not be able to get up quickly enough to not get out of the way. You know what I
That
mean?
guy
Like,
don't even know where the balloon
he didn't know where the
is.
balloon was.
Yeah,
Do you think-
I would
do you think-
dominate these clowns?
Do you think that's a sponsored car placement?
Gotta be.
That's a Kia for sure.
Oh yeah, Kia loves to place their car
One of those guys
places.
about to Dominique, if
Dunk
he was
over
in
it.
that, he would dunk over it with the balloon.
Yeah, I would definitely dominate that game. Pablo, I'll be in New York next week. We're playing in your house.
Wow.
There it is. We will play in my house, and you will lose in my house, and you will lose much like. Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, that's the one.
Listen, I don't want to put Mr. Hand on the spot again, but I think it's noteworthy that the only person who didn't get a percentage that they would dominate is the woman. I'm just saying, you continue to have cards that seem to
Alabaster, I'm going to filibuster here. You better print out this card.
And that women wouldn't be able to compete in the game.
Yeah, Alabaster, you're in trouble, buddy.
Cool story, dude.
Alabaster, here he is. No, he has a card.
No,
he definitely has a card. Oh,
time for the game.
Wow.
This show is sexist AF.
It is.
What the?
And the game
also,
is
I'm 5'10", that's very normal.
then. I give you a Mad Lib, you guys fill it out.
Oh man!
First one.
If this game was sexist, then
if the
we wouldn't
Cardinals
have talked about WNBA Finals Game 3 tonight. Oh, I'm so sorry, we haven't again. Even though it's on our
beat
air.
the Browns to go 6-0,
championship
then blank.
featuring the
this
GOAT.
isn't uncomfortable at all.
Who's
If
somehow
Drag in
in it, even
Alabaster.
though she should have been ejected for pushing an official
Well,
in
seems
Game 2.
like
Which
you got
would lead
bullied.
every show if we were.
I don't think we're
totally
talking about the
sexist.
Cardinals
Hold on,
and the Browns. I think we're
guys.
talking about WNBA Finals.
I'm a uniter, not a divider. If the Cardinals beat the Browns to go 6-0, then Kyler Murray might be the Diana Taurasi of the NFL.
Wow. Ooh, look at you.
done.
Look
Well
at you.
Possible GOAT
By the way,
candidate, a point guard who can distribute the ball.
So
Two-way
either
player,
Very nice.
not a two-way player. Who can play one way in football, but keep going with me in this
But
metaphor.
two-way in terms of baseball. Yeah, he played
There
baseball.
you go.
So, yep. By the way, Zach Ertz to the Cardinals. Interesting fun fact. That means now two players of the Red Stars, both Julie Ertz and Kalia Watt's husbands, play for the same team now in the Cardinals. Speaking of the Red Stars, they're making a playoff push to go to the playoffs for the NWSL.
This is corruption unlike levels that we have seen before on Debatable.
Anyway,
like Nyla Sarah Spain is a part owner of a soccer team and just jams her team's news into
check my emails
NFL
with Jeff
topics.
Pash. See what he's offering. I got him a VIP card to Twin Peaks. Anyway.
In solidarity with Sarah, I refuse to answer this question, and also because we spent a lot of time talking about other stuff, and I don't have anything good to say. But in solidarity with Sarah.
Oh,
this is so sad.
Wow.
This is Alabaster.
Just come. It's only 4 words and 1 piece of punctuation, and it took you about a half hour to print it out. Thank you.
That seems like you didn't have to add that.
This has turned into that scene from Love Actually, where it's just a bunch of cards apologizing.
Yeah, you're right, because Mr. Hand is like a guy who would try to hook up with his own best friend's wife.
Domonique, Love Actually is a movie where love happens among white people.
I do know that movie.
No. There's at least one black person in the movie.
I know that movie. That's the one with there's a Christmas play.
Yeah, he's married to the guy.
Yeah, and
he's married to the woman who the best friend is trying to steal.
I've seen that one. You know,
the one who's
Harry
getting
met Sally?
cuckolded.
Really like that one. That's a good one.
Good one. When they do the wave while talking about the divorce.
I watched that one recently. It's like a White Love Jones. It's
good.
The plot is very similar.
Put that on the movie poster.
Billy Crystal
it's like
has
a
played
White
black
Love
people
Jones.
in his career. Unfortunately, it was blackface on SNL back in the 1970s, but he does have some soul.
Allegedly.
Is that a soul? Oh man,
this show's gonna get all of us fired. Not Pablo.
We have another topic.
Final topic. If Geno Smith outplays Big Ben on Sunday, then blank.
Geno Smith outplays Big Ben on Sunday, then Geno Smith made himself a whole lot of money because those primetime games cement people's opinion. And he had a pretty decent couple drives last week. If he does this in front of everyone, somebody is going to pay Geno Smith enough money to be a bridge quarterback and probably be sorely disappointed. But they're going to do it anyway.
If Geno Smith outplays Big Ben Sunday night. All right, I'll go here, Sarah. Then Ben Roethlisberger still ain't losing his job. Like this is where we are now. It's a weekend at Bernie's scenario. They're gonna prop him up for as long as they possibly can. You ask any Steelers fan, but the point is, Domonique, he could be wheeled out in a wheelchair and he will still be the starting quarterback. They are not benching him for anything.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. That Big Ben's leash for this season is going to be, I don't know how bad it would have to get for them to decide to sit him. They've sort of made their bed. Now they have to line it. They've got one last year with him. He doesn't have it. He's washed. There are those moments, like you pointed to, Domonique, last week where he looked all right. But in the end, this is not going to be the reason they win. It's more likely to be the reason that they lose. And if Geno Smith hands him an L, it's just going to remind us yet again that the Steelers have put themselves in a pretty terrible position because of so many things that we don't often talk about as media or as fans, especially when we're talking about, fantasy football lineups. We talk about who's washed and who's gone, but we don't think about the personal relationships on that team where you're looking at a player that's gotten you all these rings, that has all this history that you know and love. And it's a lot easier for us to just say, cut him and move on than it has been for the Steelers, clearly, because they let him come back for another year, even though last year it was quite clear. I think it was your stat, Domonique, that his pass percentage in the pocket, not under pressure, his QBR was like 12 or something, 45, whatever it was.
Still pretty terrible.
Yeah.
So when you use the leash analogy, so I just concocted a newspaper comic where it's Mike Tomlin trying to walk a really, really old dog, but it's not going very far.
Oh, no.
And on that dog's collar is the number 7. And it just made me laugh. Do people still do newspaper comics?
Is it like that? Is it like that?
Get the Domonique is so old card out, please.
Yeah. Is this like that thing where people's dogs are so old and it's so sad because the people have to actually push the poop out? You know what I'm talking about?
Nah, it's time to go to the vet. It's vet time. I'm sorry. I remember, so my dog was getting really old and he tore his ACL, and I remember he was a bulldog, an English bulldog, and I remember walking him when he was pretty old, and the walks got really short, and I was dragging him around, and that's all. I have that vision in my head. I mean, it's fine. I love the dog.
Bulldogs are sad, man.
This is a depressing tangent.
I mean, bulldogs, aren't they bred genetically such that they can't actually reproduce? They need to be contorted
we should stop
and
breeding dogs
into
and just
positions.
adopt them. That's
tangent.
Bonus.
We earned a bonus.
Really?
I have never earned a bonus.
We've been on so long. One of my AirPods is no longer working, so that's a good sign for the rest of the show. Wow.
If the sky beat the Mercury tonight, then blank.
Have a chance to clinch on their home court in Game 5 on Sunday, which is key because you saw the energy in that building for Game 2. The Blazers and the Suns both stuck around after their preseason game. You saw, Book and CP3 and the support that they had. Now, the Chicago building was rocking for their semifinal clinching game. It's sold out for tonight. Not a single seat in the house that you can get. There are rumors of some pretty high-profile folks, and, we had Chance and Scotty and everybody at the last one, so those high-profile folks we're talking about may have at one point lived in a house that was white. I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying that there's some things going around. So that home court advantage is what the Sky need to take advantage of tonight with a win so that they can close it in front of their home fans on Sunday. And it also means that they probably neutralize Brittany Griner because she was a beast in Game 2.
Pablo, I can't talk because I saw so many thoughts happen in your head, and I need them. I need them out here. Give them to me.
The jacked White House chef is going to go to this game.
That wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. It
wasn't. I was actually talking about Melania. She's a big women's basketball fan.
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay.
Of course.
What's
There's
next?
another bonus topic.
What are the chances? Sarah won today's
wow.
show.
Look at this pandering. This is embarrassing for everyone involved.
100%.
I mean, Alabaster, just write in the answers that you think will be most legally indemnifying for your benefit. So, yeah.
In that case, you should probably go at least up to 100 billion because these 100% are significantly less than the percentage you gave previous answers.
Fair.
I can't wait for my mentions. She's just like
imagined,
my nagging wife. What a show.
Sarah, I just imagined one of those. I just imagined a Doonesbury cartoon where it's you walking Alabaster, and on the collar it says, "I'm so sorry."
Oh my gosh. I feel like this, we were worried. So
Peanuts
go ahead,
cartoon
Sarah.
where I'm holding a football and Alabaster is running to kick it.
I think we broke the show today. Dominique, did we break the show? Is the show now broken?
I think in the Peanuts cartoon, Alabaster is holding the ball, and instead of kicking the ball, you kicked him.
Yeah, that checks out too.
I like that as a little bit is a little bit better distillation of what happened on today's fine
Yeah.
program. I didn't even have to go to my question
We
book.
unfairly gave too much pub to Hooters and Twin Peaks, and we left out Tilted Kilt. I just feel like all restaurants that didn't give us money for this spot should be equally given their
Restaurants.
due.
I'm more of a butt-restaurant guy myself.
I'm sorry, did you say nuts-restaurant?
Donks. They got great food at Donks. I've never been to Donks.
You guys never.
Is that really a place?
Apologize, 55-year-old Tom Brady. I believe you are on steroids.